The lights go down, a stage, empty, silent. And then, one white sock catches the light, a single glove raised to the sky. A silhouette the entire world recognizes before it even moves. For a moment, you forget he's gone. Michael, the most controversial, most debated, most anticipated film of 2026, is in theaters right now. And depending on who you ask, it is either the greatest tribute ever put on screen or the most expensive cover-up in Hollywood history. Critics are at 38%. Audiences are at 96%. People are dancing in the aisles. Others are furious about what was left out. A 32-year-old legal clause destroyed the entire ending. The estate paid $25 million for their own mistake. And the man playing Michael Jackson had never acted a single day in his life before this film. There is a lot happening here. And before you buy that ticket, or decide not to, you need to know all of it. Here are 10 things you need to know before you see Michael. Stay until number 1. Because the detail hiding at the end of this film, the one almost nobody is talking about, will change the way you watch every single frame. Number 10. The trailer that broke the internet, before the movie even opened. On November 6, 2025, Lionsgate dropped the first trailer for Michael. Wanna Be Startin' Something, Beat It, Billie Jean, all cut together over footage of one man sliding, spinning, and moonwalking across a stage. Within 6 hours, 30 million views. Within 24 hours, 116.2 million. That shattered the record for any musical biopic trailer in history, surpassing Taylor Swift's Eras Tour film at 96.1 million. The film hadn't opened. Nobody had seen a full scene, and already the world had made up its mind. That trailer told you one thing clearly. The planet never stopped loving Michael Jackson. The music still hits like a freight train, 17 years after the man himself went silent. Number 9. The lead actor had never acted a single day in his life. Jafar Jackson, Michael's nephew, Jermaine's son, is 29 years old. Before Michael, his film credit list was 0. He had released music, he had appeared in a family reality show, but acting, never, not once. When producer Graham King first called him, Jafar's honest response was direct. "I have never wanted to be an actor." He said it plainly on The Tonight Show months before the film opened. And yet critics who despise everything else about this film are calling his performance the best thing in it. Variety's chief film critic wrote that Jafar nails not just the physicality of his uncle, but the psychological texture underneath, the delicacy and the steel, the sweetness and the iron will. A first-time actor. The biggest biopic of 2026. That is either a miracle or a masterclass, possibly both. Number 8. He beat the entire world to get this role. When the casting call went out, it was global. The production searched everywhere for someone who could be Michael Jackson on screen. Jafar was among the candidates, but he was not the favorite. He had no acting experience, no training, no film credits. Over 2 years, he worked with acting coaches. He trained with choreographers until the moonwalk lived in his body. He studied his uncle not as a fan, but as a scientist. Every interview, every live performance, every gesture. When director Antoine Fuqua finally confirmed the casting, Katherine Jackson, Michael's mother, Jafar's grandmother, gave her verdict in 4 words. "He embodies my son." From the woman who knew Michael Jackson longer and more intimately than anyone alive, that is not a small endorsement. Number 7. 3 delays, 3 completely different disasters. Michael was originally scheduled for April 18, 2025. It did not make that date. The first delay came from the 2023 SAG-AFTRA actors strike, which pushed filming to January 2024. The second happened when the entire third act was legally destroyed and had to be rebuilt from scratch. The third was almost poetic. Screenwriter John Logan, who had to rewrite the ending under pressure, had his house destroyed in the Palisades fires of early 2025. He could not work. The film moved again, landing finally on April 24, 2026. 3 delays, a strike, a legal catastrophe, and a wildfire. The universe appeared to have a personal interest in making this production as difficult as possible. Number 6. A 32-year-old legal clause blew up the entire ending. This is the one. The original Michael had a third act built around the 1993 child sexual abuse allegations against Jackson. It was written, shot, finished. Then the estate's attorneys discovered something nobody had apparently checked before filming began: a clause buried in the 1994 settlement with Jordan Chandler that legally barred any depiction of him in any film or television project. The clause had been sitting in that document for 32 years. Nobody caught it until the movie was already made. The entire third act was scrapped. 22 days of emergency reshoots were ordered, the cast reassembled. A completely new ending was written. Michael now ends in 1988 during the Bad Tour, more than 20 years before Jackson died. Everything that came after is simply not in this film. Number 5. The estate's legal mistake cost them $25 million extra. Director Antoine Fuqua was originally set to earn $10 million from Michael, producer Graham King $6 million. Then the estate's legal team failed to catch that settlement clause, forced a complete rewrite and 22 days of reshoots that the estate paid for out of its own pocket. Following the overhaul, both men's representatives negotiated compensation for the disruption and the box office risk the changes created. According to Bloomberg, Fuqua received an additional $15 million. King an additional $10 million, $25 million in extra payments paid by Michael Jackson's estate because their own lawyers missed a clause from 1994. The estate paid for their own oversight, and the film still opened to $97 million domestically in its first weekend anyway. Number 4. The real movie is 3.5 hours long, and a sequel is coming. Before the reshoots, before the legal chaos, the first cut of Michael ran 3.5 hours. Producer Graham King has said publicly that only 30% of that original footage made it into the final film. 70% is sitting in a vault. King and Lionsgate are already in serious discussions about a second film, and a $97 million opening weekend has made those conversations considerably more urgent. The film ends in 1988. Michael Jackson died in 2009. There are 21 years of his life this film does not touch. The allegations, the trials, the reinventions, the final days. The story was never meant to end here. It was always going to need a second chapter. Number 3. His own daughter called it sugar-coated. Michael Jackson's daughter Paris read an early version of the script. She described it publicly as sugar-coated and added that Hollywood biopics often shape narratives and contain inaccuracies. She had zero involvement in the film. Neither did his other daughter, Biggie. His son, Prince, served as executive producer and was a daily presence on set, but both daughters stayed away entirely. When director Antoine Fuqua was asked about Paris's reaction, he expressed hope the finished film would honor her father. Whether it does is now a matter of public record. The critics say no. The audiences dancing in theaters around the world appear to disagree completely. Before we get to number 2, if this kind of behind-the-scenes breakdown is exactly what you want more of every week, hit subscribe twite now. We do this every single week, and the best ones are coming up. Now, back to the list. Number 2, critics gave it 38%. Audiences gave it 96%. The gap has never been this wide. On Rotten Tomatoes, Michael holds a 38% critic score. Metacritic gave it 39 out of 100. The Guardian gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Critics called it sanitized, shallow, a greatest hits album with no liner notes. One compared ending the film at the Bad Tour to finishing an O.J. Simpson biopic when he won the Heisman Trophy. And then there is the audience score, 96%, the highest ever recorded for a biopic on that platform. CinemaScore audiences gave it an A-. People are not just watching this film. They are singing along, standing up, bringing their children to introduce them to Michael Jackson for the first time. 2 completely different movies are apparently playing in the same theater. One for critics, one for everyone else. Number 1. The dedication. At the end will break you, if you know what it means. Tito Jackson, Michael's older brother, original member of the Jackson 5, died in September 2024. He was 70 years old. He died while Michael was still in post-production. He never saw the finished film. The man playing Michael Jackson in that film is Jafar Jackson, Tito's son. Tito's boy plays his uncle Michael in a film about his uncle Michael, and his father died before he could watch his son become the king of pop on screen. The dedication at the end of the film reads simply, "To the memory of Tito Jackson." Most people in that theater will not fully understand what they are reading. They will not know that the man being remembered helped raise the man they just watched on screen for 2 hours, that the Jackson 5 was a family long before it was a legend, and that somewhere inside all of this, the The broken records, the legal chaos, the critical debates. There is a son who finished a film his father will never see. That is what you are walking into. Michael is in theaters now. Tell us in the comments where you land, critic side or audience side.